Here are 10 shocking early signs of cancer you can't ignore. And let's start with one of the most commonly overlooked signs, which is unexplained weight loss. We live in a world where weight loss is often celebrated, and we might think that shedding a few pounds without effort is a great thing. But if you're losing weight without trying, especially if it's 10 pounds or more, this could be an early sign of cancer. It's easy to attribute weight loss to a variety of factors: stress, changes in diet, or even more activity than usual. But when weight loss occurs without any real lifestyle changes, it's a warning sign that something more serious could be happening in your body. Cancers like stomach, lung, and pancreatic cancer are often associated with sudden, unexplained weight loss. Why does this happen? Cancer cells require a lot of energy, and as they grow, they start to consume the body's resources. The immune system is constantly trying to fight off these abnormal cells, which burns energy too. This combination of factors can lead to significant weight loss, even if your eating habits haven't changed. Think about it. You might be going about your life as usual, eating the same meals you always do, but your clothes start feeling looser and the scale keeps dropping. At first, it might seem like a bonus, especially if you've wanted to lose weight, but weight loss like this isn't healthy or normal. Unexplained weight loss can often be the first clue that something's wrong inside your body. It's your body's way of sounding an alarm, and if you notice this happening to you, don't ignore it. Make an appointment with your doctor and get checked out. But weight loss is nothing compared to another commonly ignored symptom called persistent fatigue. We all know what it's like to feel tired. Maybe you didn't sleep well, or you've had a particularly busy week. But what I'm talking about is persistent fatigue, the kind of exhaustion that doesn't go away no matter how much rest you get. If you're feeling drained all the time, if even simple tasks like climbing a flight of stairs leave you feeling wiped out, it's time to pay attention. This kind of ongoing, unrelenting fatigue can be a sign of several types of cancer, including leukemia, colon cancer, or even stomach cancer. Fatigue is one of those symptoms that's easy to dismiss. You might think, "I'm just getting older," or "I've been stressed lately." But cancer-related fatigue is different. It's a deep, bone-weary tiredness that feels impossible to shake. It's not just about needing more sleep. It's about feeling like your body is working harder than it should to get through the day. Cancers like leukemia, for example, affect your body's ability to produce healthy blood cells, which leads to anemia and severe fatigue. Colon cancer or stomach cancer can cause bleeding in the digestive tract, which also leads to anemia and makes you feel weak and exhausted. But it doesn't stop here. Many people who experience this kind of fatigue don't realize that it's a symptom of something serious. They chalk it up to lifestyle factors or aging. But if you find yourself feeling exhausted for weeks on end, it's time to talk to your doctor. And here's the thing, fatigue can be tricky because it's such a common feeling. But listen to your body. If you're feeling tired all the time, especially if it's out of the ordinary for you, it could be a sign that something's wrong, and it's worth getting checked out. When you thought you had already heard the best, you really need to hear me out about changes in your skin. Your skin is an amazing organ. It's the first thing people see, and it can reveal a lot about what's going on inside your body. But how often do you really pay attention to your skin? If you're like most people, probably not as often as you should. Skin changes are one of the most visible signs of cancer, and they're not always what you might expect. I'm not just talking about moles or freckles, although changes in these can be important. Any new growth, sore, or discoloration that doesn't heal after a few weeks should be checked out by a doctor. But that's not all. One of the most common forms of skin cancer is melanoma, which often starts as a mole that changes in shape, color, or size. A mole that's asymmetrical, has irregular borders, or contains different colors could be a warning sign of skin cancer. And while melanoma is one of the most dangerous forms of skin cancer, it's also one of the most treatable if caught early. But skin cancer isn't the only type of cancer that can show up on your skin. Breast cancer, for example, can cause changes in the skin over the breast, like redness, dimpling, or thickening. Lung cancer can cause changes in skin color, and some cancers can cause itchy or scaly patches. So, how do you know when to worry? If you've noticed a new mole or skin growth that seems different from others, or if you have a sore that just won't heal, it's time to get it checked. And don't forget to keep an eye on existing moles or spots. If they start to change, that's a sign something could be wrong. Taking care of your skin is more than just using sunscreen and moisturizer. It's about being vigilant and recognizing when something doesn't look right. Early detection can save your life, so don't ignore the signs. But there's also something you need to know about persistent pain. Pain is something we all deal with from time to time. Maybe you have a sore back from lifting something heavy, or your knees ache after a long walk. But persistent pain, pain that doesn't go away or keeps coming back, can be a sign that something more serious is happening. You might be thinking, isn't pain a normal part of aging? Sure, everybody experiences aches and pains as they get older, but pain that lingers for weeks, or that gets worse over time, is different. This kind of persistent pain could be an early sign of cancers like bone cancer, brain cancer, or even ovarian cancer. Let's break this down a bit. Bone cancer, for example, often causes pain in the bones or joints. This pain can start out mild, but gradually becomes more severe. It's not just the occasional ache. It's a deep, throbbing pain that doesn't go away, no matter how much you rest or how many painkillers you take. Similarly, brain cancer can cause persistent headaches. We all get headaches now and then, but if you're experiencing headaches that last for days or weeks, or if they're accompanied by nausea, vomiting, or vision changes, it's time to see a doctor. And then there's ovarian cancer, which can cause persistent pain in the abdomen or pelvis. This isn't the kind of pain you can brush off. It's a constant, nagging discomfort that's hard to ignore. If you've been dealing with pain that just won't quit, don't assume it's nothing. Persistent pain is your body's way of telling you that something isn't right, and it's always worth getting checked out. But this is nothing compared to what I'm going to tell you next about changes in your bathroom habits. I know, talking about bathroom habits isn't exactly the most glamorous topic, but it's an important one. Changes in your bowel movements or urination can be early signs of cancers like colon cancer, bladder cancer, or kidney cancer. Let's start with your bowel movements. If you've noticed that you're suddenly experiencing constipation, diarrhea, or narrow stools for more than a few weeks, it's time to pay attention. These changes could be a sign of colon cancer. Similarly, blood in your stool, whether it's bright red or darker in color, could indicate bleeding in the digestive tract, which is another early sign of colon cancer. Many people assume that blood in the stool is caused by hemorrhoids, but it's always better to get it checked out. Even if it turns out to be something minor, it's worth knowing for sure. Now, let's talk about urination. If you're noticing blood in your urine, or if you're suddenly needing to go to the bathroom more frequently than usual, these could be signs of bladder or kidney cancer. You might also experience pain or burning during urination, or you might feel like you can never fully empty your bladder. These changes might seem minor at first, and it's easy to chalk them up to aging or other common issues like infections. But persistent changes in your bathroom habits are a sign that something could be wrong. Don't be embarrassed to talk to your doctor about these symptoms. Your health is too important to ignore these signs, and the earlier you address them, the better. But if you thought you've heard all the early signs, You really need to hear this about persistent cough or hoarseness. We've all had coughs that seem to linger for a little longer than they should. Maybe it's a cold that won't quit, or maybe allergies are acting up. But if you have a persistent cough that lasts for 3 weeks or more, especially if you're coughing up blood, it's time to take it seriously. A persistent cough is one of the early signs of lung cancer, especially if it's accompanied by other symptoms like shortness of breath, wheezing, or chest pain. Lung cancer can sometimes present with a cough that just won't go away, and it's easy to dismiss it as something minor, like a cold or bronchitis. But here's the thing. If you've tried treating your cough and it's still hanging around, or if it seems to be getting worse, it's time to get checked out. Lung cancer is often diagnosed late because its symptoms can be subtle at first, but a persistent cough is one of the earliest signs. And it's not just lung cancer. If you've noticed that your voice has become hoarse or raspy for no clear reason, this could be a sign of throat cancer or laryngeal cancer. Hoarseness that lasts for more than a few weeks should always be evaluated by a doctor, especially if it's accompanied by other symptoms like difficulty swallowing or a lump in the throat. Pay attention to how long your cough or hoarseness lasts. If it's not going away, don't ignore it. These are important signals from your body that something might be wrong. And let's not forget about difficulty in swallowing. Have you ever felt like food is getting stuck in your throat, or that it's becoming harder to swallow liquids? This symptom, known as dysphagia, can be an early warning sign of cancers like esophageal cancer, throat cancer, or even lung cancer. At first, you might notice that solid foods are harder to swallow, but as the condition progresses, you may find it difficult to swallow liquids as well. This can be a subtle change at first, and it's easy to dismiss as indigestion or a sore throat. But if you're experiencing persistent difficulty swallowing, it's a red flag. Esophageal cancer often presents with difficulty swallowing because the tumor can block the passage of food from the throat to the stomach. Throat cancer can cause similar symptoms, along with pain or a feeling that something is stuck in the throat. If you've noticed these symptoms, it's crucial to get them checked out as soon as possible. Cancer-related swallowing difficulties usually don't improve on their own, and the sooner you catch it, the better your chances of successful treatment. Now, let's talk about another sign that's hard to ignore called unexplained bleeding. Unexplained bleeding is one of those symptoms that you just can't ignore. Whether it's blood in your stool, urine, vomit, or for women, vaginal bleeding after menopause, this is a serious warning sign that something could be very wrong. Let's start with blood in the stool. This can be a sign of colon cancer, and it's often the first noticeable symptom. It might be bright red, which indicates bleeding in the lower digestive tract, or it could be darker, which suggests bleeding higher up in the digestive system. Similarly, blood in the urine can be a sign of bladder cancer or kidney cancer. Even if you only see a small amount of blood, don't ignore it. It's your body's way of telling you that something's wrong. For women, vaginal bleeding after menopause is a major red flag. While there are several possible explanations, postmenopausal bleeding is often linked to uterine cancer or cervical cancer. If you're experiencing any kind of bleeding after menopause, it's essential to see your doctor immediately. Unexplained bleeding is one of those symptoms that should never be brushed off. It's a clear sign that something isn't right, and it's always better to be safe and get it checked out early. It's also important to talk about a sign that's often very alarming called unexplained lumps or swelling. Finding a lump or experiencing swelling anywhere in your body can be terrifying, but it's important not to panic. Many lumps are benign, but they should always be checked out by a doctor to rule out cancer. Common cancers like breast cancer, lymphoma, and testicular cancer often present as lumps or swelling. In the case of breast cancer, You might notice a lump in the breast or armpit that feels different from the surrounding tissue. It might be hard or irregular in shape, and it may not hurt. But even if the lump is painless, it's essential to get it checked out. Lymphoma, a cancer of the lymphatic system, can cause swelling in the neck, armpits, or groin. These lumps are often painless, but may grow over time. Similarly, testicular cancer often presents as a lump or swelling in the testicles. It may feel like a small pea-sized lump, or it could cause the entire testicle to swell. Even though finding a lump can be scary, don't wait to get it checked. The earlier cancer is detected, the better your chances of successful treatment. And remember, many lumps are harmless, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. But this was not the end, because there's also something you need to know about persistent indigestion or heartburn. Most of us have experienced indigestion or heartburn after eating a heavy meal or something spicy, but when these symptoms become persistent, they could be an early sign of stomach cancer or esophageal cancer. Indigestion that lasts for weeks or heartburn that doesn't respond to over-the-counter treatments is a red flag. These symptoms are often dismissed as minor annoyances, but if they persist, it's important to take them seriously. Stomach cancer can cause indigestion, bloating, and nausea, while esophageal cancer can cause heartburn, difficulty swallowing, and even chest pain. These symptoms are easy to brush off as something minor, but if they don't go away, it's time to talk to your doctor. If you think this video was great, then this video on the right-hand side will give you even more valuable information.